So Olivia, what did you get up to last night?
I just ended up doing a bunch of work.
Well, that's funny because the USC baseball team did a bunch of work as well, and we'll tell you about it because Sports Scene starts now.
We're in a solid position. Obviously, we'd like to be a little bit better in league, but all we need is one good weekend and get it right back on track. And I think we're primed for that right now. It's just a matter of us stringing the bats together, pounding the strike zone, and playing quality defense. If we do that, I think there's no doubt we can beat anybody in the country.
Welcome to Sports Scene. It's a busy week in USC sports. I'm Anthony Ciardelli.
And I'm Olivia Sandusky, and we're here to tell you all about it.
The baseball team did work last night up in Santa Barbara, and believe it or not, Olivia, their bats finally came to life.
They beat the Gauchos a solid 9-3, and every player in the starting lineup got a hit, which Coach Hubbs was happy to see.
Yesterday, the guys did a great job of putting together some good two-strike at-bats. I thought the guys did some nice job of keeping the ball low and hard, which is something we've been trying to concentrate on. We've had way too much high air where we're hitting a lot of fly balls to center and the opposite field, and I thought yesterday the guys did a great job, especially when they got into counts they could do something with, of not trying to do too much.
Last night was a breakthrough for the team, which has had a decent number of home runs overall from Dylan Paulson, Lars Newbar, Matthew Acosta, and Chase Bashore. But the team has struggled on offense this season.
Through 25 games, the Trojans are last in the Pac-12 for batting average and on-base percentage. But their defensive percentage right here, fielding, they're actually second in Pac-12 and 13th overall in the nation.
The infield, the outfield, and behind the plate, you know, they've really stressed making the routine play, know where the ball needs to go, no unnecessary throws. I think the guys have bought into that, and they've played great all year.
USC wants to make up ground in the Pac-12 when they face Arizona State this weekend. A little help from Washington State and Utah could vault the Trojans from 10th to 6th in the Pac-12. Coach Hubbs wants his team to jump on ASU's shaky pitching right away. Opponents have a .250 batting average against, while pitchers have allowed 143 runs this season.
I think the big thing that they do is when you look at their numbers, they can really hit. And they're very confident with that. We're going to have to make the pitchers work. If anything, when you see a weakness on them has been their starters haven't been able to go deep in the game. The earlier we can get into their pen, I think the better. And then we have to hit with men in scoring position. We know their field is very offensive. It's a big field. The ball flies. The dirt's hard. And so there's a lot of hits out there.
All right, now switching fields, the women's lacrosse team also had a tough matchup this weekend, and Anthony has more on the women of Troy. Anthony?
Thanks, Olivia. The 17th ranked women's lacrosse team continues their tough schedule as they face 15th ranked Colorado on Friday. Over the weekend, they beat California but lost a close battle to Stanford on Sunday afternoon. This was the second close game against Stanford, who had beaten them in overtime just a week earlier. Izzy McMahon, Kerrigan Miller, and Emily Ciardelli combined to score 8 of the Trojans' 11 goals. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be quite enough for the win. USC will have to wait until a potential Pac-12 tournament matchup to get some revenge on the Cardinal. If that does happen, they'll rely heavily on their offense. The team has scored a lot of their offensive sets this season. Success against Colorado will have a lot to do with their ground ball battle. Both the Trojans and the Buffaloes rank in the top of the Pac-12 in ground balls per game. At this point in the season, every game counts. Their match against the Colorado Buffaloes on Friday and then their match against Oregon on Sunday will really help them gain some momentum in the Pac-12 before the Pac-12 tournament. And joining me in studio from the women's lacrosse team is sophomore attacker Izzy McMahon. Thank you for joining me, Izzy.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anthony.
Izzy transferred from the United States Military Academy where she played her freshman season. Thanks for coming in. So first question, how do you think the season's going on so far?
I think the season's going pretty well. Obviously, we've had some tough wins and tough losses, but I definitely think we're learning from those losses and using that as momentum to fuel for our next game. We're a really young team, but good thing that our senior leadership has really supported us and showed us the way in the Pac-12.
And so you personally transferred from West Point after your freshman season to here. What was it like making that transition?
The transition had its ups and downs for sure. Unfortunately, I had to spend a year residency away from a 4-year institution. So I spent a year at JUCO, kind of just getting my degree finished and training on my own. So being away from competitive lacrosse for a whole year was a little difficult, especially getting back into it. But you know, on the athletic side of it, coming from West Point, I think it was pretty smooth just because I was basically in season all year long, going from basketball to lacrosse, and lacrosse here is pretty demanding and it's basically a full-time job. So I think the transition went pretty well.
And speaking of lacrosse being a full-time job, it's really also a full family affair for you guys. So you're following your older sister coming to USC. What's that like?
It's pretty funny. I mean, a lot of people have said that me and her play completely different ways. Gabrielle was a midfielder and I'm strictly attack. But you know, she left her mark here at USC, definitely, and hopefully I can come in and just fill those shoes that she left.
And not only that, your younger sister you faced this weekend against Stanford.
Yeah.
That must have been, what's the competition like playing against your sister?
It's pretty funny. You know, we obviously talk a lot and we keep in touch, and you know, we just always remind ourselves that at the end of the day we're walking away as family, and on the field, you know, we're just enemies for about 60 minutes and that's it. And it's a little uncomfortable at times because Daniela, I've always played with her, especially in high school, and she's the kind of player that I love to play with. She's definitely a hustle player. She makes great decisions, and so when I did go up against her, it was a little, I didn't know how to feel about it, but it's all fun and games.
I mean, you outdid her on the score sheet. You had more goals than she did on Sunday.
Yeah.
How did the whole family get so involved in lacrosse?
Well, both my mom and dad were lacrosse players in high school, and then they both played at William and Mary. And we've basically had sticks in our hands since we can remember. And my mom has coached me basically throughout my whole life, from when I first picked up a stick all the way to when I graduated high school. So I think just all of us playing lacrosse, and we've kind of always been competitive. We've always pushed each other, and I think that's what kind of brought us our success.
And I hope they've coached you how to play well under pressure, because you guys have had a lot of high pressure games, a lot of overtime games this season. What has that been like?
I mean, obviously we're used to it at this point. I think 4 games we've been in overtime, and unfortunately I think we've only lost 2 of those games to BC and Stanford. They're both tough losses, but what we're kind of trying to do is just forget about those tough losses and just move on to the next game. And you know, hopefully if we do get into another high pressure situation, especially in overtime, we can pull out with the win.
And you guys are facing the Buffaloes, the Colorado Buffaloes, on Friday, who are really closely ranked with you, like right above you in both the Pac-12 and the nation. What are you guys going to have to do to beat them?
Honestly, I think it's just going to come down to, you know, who wants it more, and it just starts with the little things like ground balls, hustling to the 50-50s, who gets to draw, and I think whoever does that controls the small things, the hustle plays. I think we'll come out with the win, and we've been preparing already for Colorado. We obviously we had a tough game with them going into overtime, so I think this next game is going to be pretty fun.
Who are some of the players on Colorado that you guys know you have to kind of look out for?
Yeah. Obviously, Darby Scott, she kind of hurt us last game. I think she had 4 goals against us, and she had the goal to send us into overtime. And she's a really good player. I actually played with her in the summer when I was a little bit younger. So we're definitely keeping an eye out for her. Also, their goalie played really well against us. She had 17 saved shots, so hopefully we can place the ball a little bit better and make those shots count.
Well, I'll be watching as the season goes on. Izzy, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
We are going to now go over to the soccer field, or to look at soccer with Sarah McGrew.
The spring practice is underway, but I'm not talking about football. I'm talking about the other football, soccer. USC's women's soccer team is making the most of the season and adding 2 new faces to their lineup.
USC soccer coach Kadani McAlpine has had success in bringing in transfers to his program. Just 2 years ago, his team won the national championship with transfers like Morgan Andrews.
When we came in as a staff, the team was talented, but we were missing a few pieces, and we thought if we could add some dynamic personalities to the team, that it would give us a good chance to make a run, and ultimately led to the championship.
This spring, Coach McAlpine and his staff have brought in 2 new talented transfers. Natalie Jacobs is a redshirt junior from Notre Dame, and Aaliyah Hyatt is a sophomore from North Carolina. Both are California natives, so USC was an easy choice.
When I decided that I was going to transfer, I was coming back to California. So I looked at a couple other schools, but decided on here.
It's nice to be right down the street for home, so every weekend I've been able to just go home when it feels like vacation.
Jacobs comes to USC with some experience under her belt. Last season, she led the Fighting Irish with 13 goals, and in 2016, she took a redshirt year to train for the World Cup with the under-20 women's national team. As a versatile player, she's hoping to impact the team in any way she can.
Playing both defense and forward really helps me like reverse. So like if I'm playing forward, I'm like, I know what defenders don't like because I play defense and vice versa. So I really like being able to do that, and I'm willing to play wherever is needed and where I can help.
As a freshman with the Tar Heels, Hyatt started 7 games, won an ACC championship, and made it to the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament. As a Trojan, she has high hopes for her upcoming seasons.
I think this group of girls here is extremely talented. I think we have all the right pieces to win a national championship. Foremost, that's my biggest goal, is to win a national championship with this team.
There's no doubt another national championship is also on Coach McAlpine's mind.
We had a little painful ending at the end of last season, and so they're looking to recreate some of that success from 2 years ago, and Natalie and Aaliyah fit right into that. They're similar mindset, similar focus.
Regular season won't pick up until the fall semester, but the Trojans are hungry for more titles. Olivia, back to you.
Thanks, Sarah. It's no secret that freshman Paige Hochschild is a star in the pool for USC women's water polo. She's played in all 18 games for the Trojans, and she says her teammates have been the key to her success.
I think my teammates just make it so easy. They set me up well. They make everything so comfortable, and the transition was easy for me, so they're the ones that really make me look good. It's a team effort.
She scored 7 goals against Hartwick, good for 3rd most goals in a game by a Trojan. She also earned her 4th straight Newcomer of the Week award, which is her 6th of the season. She's collected 50 goals on the year, a conference high, and is just the 6th true freshman to score 50 goals in a season for USC. Looking beyond her personal achievements, Paige spoke about the team's goals for the rest of the season.
I mean, I think it's obvious that we want to win a national championship at home. That's our biggest thing. And then, of course, NPSF would be our next step down, but I think just to keep winning games, keep shocking people, and doing what we do best, playing good water polo and having fun. That's like what it's all about.
Well, with the way Hochschild and the Trojans have been playing, I wouldn't be surprised to see an NPSF championship in their future. And on the other side of the campus, Anthony caught up with 2 more women of Troy who are also in the middle of a successful season.
I'm here with Jenna Belton and Joe Kramer of the USC beach volleyball team. We're here to play a quick game called Ask an Athlete. So I'm going to ask you guys both rapid fire questions for 1.5 minutes. If you think the answer is you, hold up your sign. If you think the answer is the other person, hold up their sign. All right, going to put 60 seconds on the clock. Here we go. All right, first things first. Who is the better driver between you two? Yeah, all right, both in agreement. Had a little bit of a scary episode, have we, at that point? All right, next question. Who is the better dancer of you two?
Oh, that's a pass. We're both horrible.
Neither. Yeah, neither.
Same here. All right, who is the better cook? An agreement. What's the dish of choice? What's the best dish?
Chicken parm. Yeah, this makes a good chicken parm.
Excellent. Same here. I'm a big fan of chicken parm. All right, who is the cleaner of the two of you? She begrudgingly agrees. I get it. All right, who has got the bigger shoe collection, if any shoes at all? All right, let's see here. Who has got the better taste in music? I don't know, that's kind of a subjective one, but we'll see.
Yeah, very similar.
What style?
Like alternative, oldies, kind of.
Yeah, a lot of oldies.
Nice, agreed. That's good choice. Good choice. As long as it's not country music, then I think we're good. All right, who is the better student?
I think we're both good students.
Joe has a better GPA.
Ah.
Jenna has a harder major.
Balances out.
There, so we'll say equal. All right, who is the more competitive?
Depends on the day.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are both good athletes, so I'm sure you're both equally competitive, and that's going to do it. Thank you both for joining me. For Sports Scene, I'm Anthony Ciardelli. Thanks a lot. March Madness is over. Villanova topped Michigan 79-62 Monday night in the national championship to win their 3rd title in program history.
And it was their 2nd title in just 3 years. What an exciting tournament that was.
Sophomore guard Dante DiVincenzo scored a team-high 31 points coming off of the bench, and Mikal Bridges added 19 in the winning effort. Michigan's breakout star Moritz Wagner scored 16 points in the loss. It's the 6th time Michigan has fallen short in the national final. As for our bracket challenge here at Annenberg, it was close, but Nate Desai took home the win with 93% accuracy. Jeff Dubroff and Cole Sullivan round out the top 3.
You know, it's funny, Anthony, I think I remember you made a bracket for that challenge.
It's unfortunate that you mentioned that. My basketball knowledge got me all the way to 20th place out of 24, so not good.
Well, better luck next March, Anthony.
Yeah, well, I'll probably need it. Thank you for tuning in to Sports Scene. Please follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Annenberg Media Sports. I'm Anthony Ciardelli.
And I'm Olivia Sandusky. Tune in next week for all things USC. We'll see you next time.